Teaching about the Holocaust presents a number of challenges. At the Mill Hill School in Ripley, Steve Richardson, with his Year 9 class, uses survivor testimony and documentation researched and created by the Holocaust Education Development Programme.
I hope you can see us from the title from today's lesson. We're going to talk about liberation in the context of what we've already been studying about the Holocaust. So, I want you to have a go at these 4 tasks. The lesson is focusing on liberation and on going home, looking at survivors' accounts of the process of from the point of liberation to the journey they made in terms of getting home. It comes towards the end of our topic in Year 9 on the Holocaust, and it's looking at, first of all, what their understanding of the word liberation means. Ria, what do you think?
Freedom.
Good. Anybody else?
Extreme joy, because eventually they get set free, so it's quite a happy moment.
So, we've already started to answer question 3, haven't we? How do you think they might have felt? Okay. Now, I want to introduce you to Leon Greenman's story. Have a read, and then I want to show you the clips of testimony. We are looking at testimonies from 2 particular survivors, Anna Bergman and Leon Greenman. And I want to delve into Leon Greenman's story. He was an English Jew that had moved to Rotterdam in the Netherlands with his wife Else. I like using Leon's story because I think the fact that he comes from England is something which the students can relate to.
He got reunited with his father 7 months after he'd been released.
Okay. Now, the clip I'm about to show you talks about that moment when he meets his dad again. Have a look.
I said, tell Mr. Greenman that his son will be in about 10 minutes' time. I didn't want to jump in straight away. I wanted to prepare him. So when I got in, my father was very thin, starved. I saw the pictures on the wall, my wife and child. Then I had a damn good cry. And I went out the next morning. I got up early. Father said, what are you getting up early for? Yeah, I got to get out. I got no rest. I want to see who and what not. I couldn't find any family. I couldn't find friends.
Okay. Now, 3 tasks. Tasks 1 and 2 on the screen, I think we can perhaps do together if you wish. The issues they faced and what it tells us about how the survivors were experiencing life again. Please share ideas with the person next to you. Off you go.
I think they'll have mixed feelings, like happy if they did find their friends and family, but sadness if they didn't.
Yeah.
Then know what they've been through.
There's also the kind of the emotional issues that Leon was facing, dealing with the loss, having to cope to returning without his wife and child.
Was he sure that they weren't going to be there?
He went to the camps with them,
right.
And he returned without them. So I think he was fairly certain that they'd perished in the camps. I think the use of testimony in teaching about the Holocaust is essential because it personalises the story. It rehumanises, perhaps where in the past they would think of the numbers of Jews that had died or who suffered in the Holocaust as statistics and figures. This puts a human face onto those stories, and I want them to respond to that. So it's very much sort of a personal interaction with the story and to engage with the person who it had happened to. Let me tell you what happened at Buchenwald and many other concentration camps once liberated. They were turned into what's referred to as displaced persons camps. So the majority of the prisoners stayed exactly where they were. They were no longer prisoners, but they had nowhere else to go in many cases. Now, if that was the case, what do you think Leon wanted to do?
To go home and just to find his dad and start again, really. OK,
good, to go home. What we've got to try and work out then is how come that took him 7 months. Now, I'm going to give each table a pack of cards. Your first job is to arrange them in chronological order, right? But don't just read the dates on each card. I really want you to see what happened to him on those dates.
It's in England on that one. Late November.
The work I've been doing with the Holocaust Education Development Programme has been very important to my teaching as well as the teaching of the department at school. I get access to original documentation, survivor testimonies, which are invaluable when it comes to teaching about the Holocaust. And as well as that, I'm able to discuss with them exactly how to use them in the classroom, making sure that the teaching is done in a way that's appropriate for the topic and also that gets the best out of the students. OK, you've got some tasks now. If you had to say from all those, what's the one that sticks in your head and why?
Where he takes his stepmom and his dad to live in London with his brother, because like he wants all his family close and he's got nothing left.
Good. About drawing the family back together. He wants to be with his brother in London. He wants his dad and his stepmom with him. Good.
He met a journalist from the flight that he was going to take to where he lived, and the journalist wrote in the London Evening Standards.
It was just outside the camp gates of Buchenwald where this interview took place. And it's a really short article that appeared in the Evening Standard. And I've got that article for us just to look at as we finish off today. So have a look. One of the reasons why we know Leon's story so well is that he was unusual in that he spoke often about his experiences. He wanted to tell people about what happened to him and his family. And the other reason he was unusual is that he spoke so soon about it. Let me ask you this, why was it important to him that everybody knew exactly what happened from the word go?
So people didn't soften up the truth.
Good. This idea of softening the truth, perhaps, you know, this is exactly what happened to me and I need people to know it now. I think that's the public reason. But is there any personal reason why you might want to do it? What do you think, Ben?
Probably just wanted to let go of it all.
That's a really interesting idea. Just the telling somebody was in some way helping him to cope with his experience. Now, I want us to think a little bit about these three tasks as we finish today. Okay? Were Anna and Leon's experiences of liberation joyful? How do their experiences challenge our ideas of what liberation means? And do you think they have ever really been liberated? Three quite tough questions. Speak about it with the person next to you. Off you go.
When they first found out that they were going to get out, I'm sure they must have been
a bit
joyful
happy.
a bit. They
But
found out
I
they
suppose
were going
once
to
they
find.
actually got back.
He couldn't find any of his relatives around town apart from his mum and dad. So
Exactly.
it's sort of,
So
yeah.
basically, it was mostly sad, really.
When they think like it didn't happen to me, it could have upset them because like even though it didn't happen to them, it could have happened to their friends or family.
How come my wife and my child died and I didn't? What is it about, you know, to be guilty for surviving almost? It's a very interesting idea. It's good. Now, do you think that Leon and Anna have ever really been liberated? Ria, what do you think?
I think emotionally that they'll never be liberated because they'll always remember it and it'll always be stuck in their mind all the stuff that's happened.
I think that's good. I think that idea about perhaps being trapped by your memories, still not actually liberated from that, physically set free from the mistreatment and the horrors of the camps, and yet in terms of coping with it on an emotional level and coping with it. My hope is that this isn't just another lesson. My hope is that my students go away with an increased understanding of what happened in the Holocaust and an understanding of not just a gaining of new knowledge, but also a challenge to attitudes and preconceived ideas about others that are different to them.